So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. We've got on the line Peter Demchenko from SAP America, myself, Reinhard Stabler, and Sasha Schwenker. And what we are planning to do is just briefly go over the integration strategy from SAP, then give you a quick overview of Engineering Control Center, and then actually walk you through a live demonstration of Engineering Control Center together with the CATIA integration. And we hopefully have some time left then towards the end for some questions and answers. So with that, I hand over to Peter, who will actually talk about the authoring tool integration strategy now.
Thanks, Reiner. Hello, everyone. I'm Pete Demchenko from SAP. I'm the PDM practice manager and the PLM architect for SAP. What we're going to talk about today quickly is where SAP is going in the integration strategy for engineering systems. This slide basically represents where we are today, the tried and true CAD desktop. It's integrated to all the major CAD systems that are available. It allows you the bi-directional integration and of sharing of data between the systems, being handled all the file management relationship requirements between the systems, the capability for engineers to create material masters, leverage your CAD structures into document structures, and then engineering bombs, and then also the ability to manage changes across a configuration. But as time is going against us, CAD desktop's been around 15 years, so the user interface is dated, the platform is dated, and we've needed to do an upgrade. So basically, what SAP did was we went and we purchased a solution from one of our PLM Alliance partners, DSC Software AG, and it's called the Engineering Control Center. So shortly, Engineering Control Center think of it as a brand new platform that's scalable and flexible. We're going to add the existing CAD system integrations into this. Today, you'll see an integration demonstration for CATIA. So this comes from the NX world, but we want to show you where we are today with another CAD system being integrated into this platform. We're also going to add the electrical CAD systems. So over time in the next releases, you'll see the addition of ECAD systems as well as many different authoring systems. So think of this as the future of SAP, where we're going with a new platform, a new user look and feel, much more intuitive. On the next slide, you can get a picture and you'll see that basically what we've done, because we have to integrate to all the CAD systems, our strategy is integrating to a CAD system bidirectionally is much easier than integrating to a PLM system bidirectionally. You can save yourself millions of dollars and thousands of hours of effort. And basically, with the addition and the purchase of Visual Enterprise, the knock on us was always, oh, you guys do a whole lot of things, but you're not that pretty. So now with the Visual Enterprise, we can actually leverage a true master model concept from the CAD models all the way down to lightweight files that get created to the shop floor, to service, to maintenance, work instructions, all of that leveraging the CAD models. All of this stored in the document management system, and all of this easily accessible from the new user interface. So think of this as taking the best of Innovia, Team Center, and Windchill and putting it into a fully integrated solution that gives you a tie-in to manufacturing, service, all of that, and it's fully integrated. That's the SAP strategy. So next slide. So basically recapping this, it's going to be the platform of the future, an integrated platform allowing you to bring together mechanical solutions, electrical solutions, software development, and many different other types of authoring solutions. So it's the platform, the central control area for anyone working in engineering, manufacturing, and it can be expanded out to different roles depending on what the roles are within your company. It truly allows you to do total system engineering by its integrated capabilities, its flexibilities, and its scalability. And I guess I'll turn it over to Reinhard so he can give you the details.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. So what I would like to do now is just briefly take you through some of the key features of the tool set, the Engineering Control Center, and then we'll go into our live demonstration from there. So if you look at this picture, SAP had for a long time had a strategy to integrate different engineering authoring tools into the SAP world, and through that integrate all processes, people, and solutions in one system, really supporting end-to-end processes within this environment. With Engineering Control Center, we'll have a new platform, as Pete mentioned and explained, and that really supports a systems engineering approach that allows you to capture all different results of the different authoring tools into one environment. And so that's really the focus of the strategy behind this decision to introduce Engineering Control Center for all engineering authoring tools. So Engineering Control Center, if you look at it, what can it do? How does it look like? You see a screenshot of the tool here on my slide. It is a very companion-like tool to an engineer. It's very focused on engineers. I mean, the developers have been looking very closely at typical activities that an engineer performs during his or her workday, and support that very well with the different windows that we will look at in more detail in just a second. So very important in the design of the tool was the ease of use, things like drag and drop, copy paste, very efficient use. There's a very intuitive flow of information and tasks, so you can actually navigate through information structures in one window, look at the details in another one, things like that. It supports a very fast execution of typical engineering tasks. You can, for example, clone assembly structures, things like that. It's really tailored for engineers. So if you look at kind of what, as I said, what an engineer does during his or her workday, the tool supports that very well. And it's flexible in the sense that each user can customize, personalize the application. You can combine the views that you need for your daily work into the application and really build a personalized experience with this tool set. At the same time, it really allows you to accelerate engineering tasks, so making your work more efficient overall, and that, of course, is the idea behind the new user interface for SAP PLM. If we look at a couple of the details of the application, there's one important concept. There's a desktop within the application that allows you to work with user-specific folder structures. So basically, an engineer can organize his or her work in folder structures. You can structure your projects. You can structure your design work into folders and manage all the information in folder structures. All of this information is kept inside SAP, so it's a fully transparent capability within the tool set. And around that, you have then all the functionality that you would expect from a CAD data management, a data management and document management tool set in general. A lot of context-sensitive pull-down menus that allow you to efficiently access functionality, and with access to all the different SAP objects that are important in the engineering domain. The toolbars and context-sensitive menus, of course, change depending on the object that you work with. So you always have a toolbar that allows you to directly execute specific SAP functionality. You have a cockpit, actually, so the context-sensitive menus that allows you to access all different SAP functionalities. You can actually navigate to an SAP GUI type function. You can navigate into the PLM7 screens. You can go into PPM and so on. So it's really the one interface that allows you to leverage all these different functionalities. Being primarily a CAD integration tool set, ECTR, of course, allows you to manage assembly views, so you can actually look at assemblies in a multi-level expanded tree structure, which is basically a corresponding structure that is built within SAP for the CAD assembly structure that you model in your CAD tool. Related to that, you can actually go into the bill of materials, so you can in parallel look at the bill of materials structure and the assembly structure. You can see how an actually assembly is mapped to a bill of material. You're probably aware that SAP can handle bill of materials in different views, so you can have an engineering view on a bill of material, you can have a manufacturing bill of material, and the tool can actually configure that. You can look at the different representations and work with them within the interface. Also available is an object browser. So assuming you work with your product structures and assembly structures on the desktop side, which is shown on the left hand of this picture, you can actually click on individual items and then see the details of the individual item that you've selected. If you, for example, use that for a document, you can see all the details of the document, the basic data, you can see classification, you can see structure and related information, you can see all the files that are being managed within the SAP environment, and so have all the information at your hands that is required to interrogate and navigate a structure. I'll just skip over this. A very interesting combination is the integration of the SAP Visual Enterprise technology. So within ECTR, there's an embedded viewer that is basically the same viewer that you probably have seen and heard about in the PLM7 environment. So you can use the ECTR also to share 3D geometry between non-CAD users. So a user that has just the ECTR access without a CAD system can use the tool as well, and you can use the 3D Visual Enterprise technology to annotate and interrogate 3D geometry here. As Pete mentioned, the Engineering Control Center was originally developed by DSC for the integration of Siemens NX. It's now positioned much more general. So with NX, you have the integration into the NX menus and can work with them, and some of you may have seen that, especially if you are an NX user. The same is true now for other CAD systems, and we'll focus on CATIA today. It's actually one of the first integrations that has become available also on ECTR now, and you'll see kind of it's a very seamless way of working in mixed CAD environments. So the tool truly supports multi-CAD deployments and basically provides the same tool integration for all these different CAD systems. And with that, I would like to hand over to Sasha, who will actually show us the tool in a live scenario.
All right, thank you very much, Reinhard. I will leave the PowerPoint presentation for now for a bit, and I would like to introduce you to a small change scenario. You see here what we need to do is we have our usual demo example, our Lego digger. We faced a problem with the Lego digger, and an engineer is receiving right now an email like something like this here with some information and with a link to a more detailed task. And this is just the workflow piece. You see here we are inside the workflow tool. We have a task here. I should perform a change here inside the system. If I need some more information, I can go here and get some more information about the change. So for example, on the header data, I see here the Lego digger has a balance problem with heavy shovel loads, tends to tip over, and we need a larger counterweight here. So this is the information. If we go on the object page, the person who requested this change left us already objects we need to consider here. So for example, this is the material master for the Lego digger. This is the document info record, and so on and so on. In the process, we went already through a normal formal request phase. The request phase is done, and as I said, we are right now in the modification phase where the engineer gets the task and needs to now act on the task, and we do this all now in the Engineering Control Center. The only thing what I'm doing here, I would like to highlight here, we use this process number here. and with this I'm basically leaving my workflow tool over into the engineering control center. So inside the engineering control center, it seems that I still have my email open. In the engineering control center, like Reinhard said, we have different views into SAP. So everything here is hooked up to SAP. I think that's something we really need to highlight. There is no database in between. There are no files in between. We are connecting here direct to the SAP system. So what would an engineer in this case do to perform this task? What we see a lot of times that there is a requirement for organizing this in kind of folders. So in my case, I create a folder, project digger, and take this as my main work folder inside of the system. So what I can do here, I select the folder and say, this will be my active folder. Whatever action I'm performing inside the system, whatever object I create will now fall into this folder. So what I can do here, for example, is I can, for example, set my workflow, which I just showed from the other side. I can add this here to my folder to have right away all the information available from my process change. So you see here, I have now my process, my workflow here, and inside my workflow I have already my linked objects. You see here, this is my Lego digger, and I can also drag and drop this right away into the main folder. That's what I'm doing here right now. So this is my digger. Let's see what other information we have here. I have my material master for my main folder for my process. I also drag and drop this into my other things. And then to perform this change, I need for sure an engineering change number, and I also put this into as part of the main folder. You see here, I'm really working here with the drag and drop functionalities. I could have just left this inside this large folder here from the Lego digger, but in this case, I just like to have it better on the main view. So maybe to get an overview about the surrounding here, I would like to perform some queries inside the system, and Engineering Control Center allows me to store some predefined queries. So for example here, I have all my released assemblies. If I open this, then I see a canned query which I prefer, or which I defined previously, where I have, for example, all my products for my released assemblies. And in the same way, I could say, okay, I would like to create a new query. Again, it has to do something with my Lego digger. And now the system asks me, what are the search parameters for this query? So in this case, I'm making it very easy. I just search here for Lego. I could also have searched for document ID type, basically all information inside the document management, material management, etc. system. So I say, okay, I would like to see this. And you see here, SAP is right away looking into the live system. Again, we are not looking into a second database. We are querying right away SAP. And you see here we have different objects for which is listening to my query, in this case, released or in work Lego diggers, or something which is the description with Lego. So this was one option to organize my work here. Another option to receive the work would be, for example, my SAP Office and my workflow inbox. So what I showed you in the NetWeaver business client, the same functionality is available also within the Engineering Control Center, and I could here navigate to my workflows, have here my workflow items, etc., and then can drag and drop into the different folders. So you see here, there are different ways of integrating or to working with the system and interacting with other users. So as an engineer, I would like to first maybe get an overview about what are the different diggers, Lego diggers I have right now into our system. So for this, for example, I can select the object, and you see here, Reinhard mentioned this already. We have a menu here on the left side, the object browser, which always tells us the information about the object I'm selecting here right now. So when I'm selecting a different object, the object browser reacts right away and gives me the up-to-date information from SAP about this one object. This is working for documents, material, bombs, basically all supported SAP PLM objects. And what are the information I see here? I would say, general document info record information. You see here, I have my user, my description, I have classification information. So for example, this document or this assembly was released with CATIA release R20, has this weight. I have the status log. So you see this document went through a couple of status changes in our demo system, all performed by myself. Not really realistic, but that's how it is in the demo system. I have an insert or I have an outlook into the originals. Here you see we have different representations like the JPEG, like a PDF, like the Visual Enterprise files, etc., etc. So in this browser, I basically can get all the document information I need. If I need more information, if I, for example, say, hey, what's the presentation of this one, I can just select this and say, show me this in a 3D viewer. In this case, my Visual Enterprise viewer kicks in, and I see exactly the model here inside the Visual Enterprise. And here I can then do the normal functionalities, like I could section something, can rotate this, and so on and so on. I will come to this in a second. If I would like to see what's the latest one, so you see here there's a different digger in work right now. If I would like to see this, I just say open in 3D viewer. I don't need to leave the interface. I get this here right away, and you see here this is the Lego digger inside my system. So let's this is something which I can use to get a good overview about the surrounding product. But finally, I need to change this Lego digger here. You see here, this is the number I need to do. I could drag and drop this again, for example, into my folder. This would be another option. In this case, I got this already from my change folder. But if I, for example, would like to see the structure of the digger, I can just move this to my assembly area, and then the system will show me basically all the assembly levels. If I would like to see a 3D visualization from my assembly structure, I just hit the button here, and you'll see I have an interactive connection between my structure, my assembly browser here, and my Lego digger here on the lower side. So again, here I could do some interrogations, can turn it around. Actually, you usually would do this on a little bit larger resolution. That's the reason why it's a little bit compressed here. But still, I have functionalities like, again, I showed the sectioning already. If I move the section plane around, I could also do some measurements. I can see how far these are from each other. And you see here we get some results of this model here inside the system. So this was basically some basic functionalities about the engineering control center. At the end of the day, I need now to perform my change. And where do I perform my change? In my CAD system. So what I do here now is I select the main assembly, use the context menu. Reinhard already explained some of the functionalities. You see here I can open them in read-only, open them in edit. Actually, edit mode wouldn't work, obviously, because my product is already released here. I have some document operations here on my fingertips, like check in, check out, cancel. I have some CAD functionalities, fast load. This allows me to load the assembly in a very, very short time frame with only neutral representations. I have obviously my SAP GUI functionalities if I need them, and so on and so on. So with a context-sensitive menu, I can do whatever I need to do as an engineer to work inside this assembly. So let me open this right now. I say I would like to have this in read-only mode. The system is now opening this in my CAD system, and here I'm inside my CAD environment. In this case, CATIA, as Peter and Reinhard mentioned already, this is now available or will be available with all major CAD systems. It just happened that we, on the CATIA side, we did a little bit upfront. That's the reason why we are using CATIA here as our demo system. So what would be my task inside the CAD system? I would need to create, for this change, I need to enlarge my counterweight. Remember, this is our task here. I would need to create probably a new version for this assembly, and I need to create a new version here for my counterweight. And this functionality I have all in my integrated menu. You see here, like on the NX side, I have also here inside CATIA, and this will be the same for all the other CAD systems. I have my main functionalities here, like I can create a new master document, I can check the structure, I can check in data, I can save something inside SAP, I can check something out, and I can create a new version, clone objects, etc., etc. So I have the main functionalities I need for the integration, either here on this button list or as a normal function menu in a menu inside CATIA. So what I'm going to do here right now is, as I said, I create a new version for my assembly here. So the system asks me, do you want to create a new version? I say, yes, I would like to do this. Now a communication process in the background happens with Engineering Control Center. They basically create the new version in the background, and in our system we check in the new version here right away. That's something you hold on. Yeah, okay. So if I check this out now to work on it, so if I check this out to work on it, you see the system is generating me right away a new version for this assembly. So I'm doing the same thing for my counterweight right now. So I also create a new version. Actually, that's something I could have done also together in one transaction. And you see the Engineering Control Center is running for creating this, this new version and checking in the file and then handing me back into the CAD system. So in the same thing I do here, I can check this out, and while I'm checking this out, the system is telling me also right away that this is my first version of this assembly here, of this medium counterweight. So what I'm performing right now is a normal CAD task. I'm just going into my model management, whatever I, for example, raise this to 100, update my structure, and I'm basically done with my change here at this time. So if I, for example, need to have some more interaction with the CAD tool, you see with the Engineering Control Center, you see here on the Engineering Control Center side, in my Project Digger folder, I have two new objects. You see my new version of my Lego Digger, this is the assembly one, and I see the new version, the version number 1 of my medium counterweight. Due to the fact that I'm working always in a change scenario, I need also a change number for these two items. So what I can do is I can just select my item here inside the Engineering Control Center, and I just drag and drop this on the change master. The system asks me, if I want to assign this, and I just say yes. So if I consider this, if I would do this inside SAP GUI, this would be probably 20 clicks later. Here I can just drag and drop my object on the change master, and now it's assigned to this one change master. If I go to the basic data here, actually I see here that somewhere I have my change number, probably not here right now, but I would see this here in the here it is. It's just getting updated. Here I see the change number master. I'm just used to drag and drop these objects. So coming back to my CAD session here, I can now continue here. So I could manipulate this a little bit more. In my simple life, I would just check in my objects, and I'm done with my change. So also this is something I can use directly here from the CAD interface. I say just check in objects. The system is now transporting the object from my local system back into the SAP system, and I'm basically done with my change from this angle. And that's something we just accepted. So you see here, I have now my larger counterweight here. and this is part inside SAP of my new version. So I'm leaving my CAD system right now. I'm going back to the Engineering Control Center, and you see here these objects, they are getting into a certain status here. If I would like to move this status, for example, from one status to another, I just select these two objects, say I would like to change the status, and I can do this all together here. So for example, I can flip them first to in work, and then I flip them to be checked, for example, and so on and so on. So I'm asking right now that these objects are getting checked inside the system. If I would like to see my new assembly structure here, I can remove this here and just say I would like to see my new assembly structure inside my assembly tree, and assuming that in the background our Visual Enterprise generator already works, I take the risk and just say I would like to see this inside Visual Enterprise right now. And you see here, also in my 3D viewer, I see here the new object with a large counterweight complete. This functionality, again, is not just tied to my workstation. This will work with every Engineering Control Center or any other SAP GUI. So this is not a functionality I need to have my CAD system with, but this is something I could basically perform from every workstation or from every access with PLM7 from anywhere in the world, regardless of the CAD workstation. So last but not least, we are coming to the end of the session here. I just want to give you a small idea of other information. Like Reinhard said this already, we have, for example, bill of material information. So if I take, again, my Lego digger, the material master from the Lego digger, and I drag and drop this here into my bill of material, I see here right away how my bill of material looks like. I see this here in my engineering view. You see here, this is my medium counterweight. I could also do this on the manufacturing bill of material. Here you see this is usage 1, usage 1, usage 2. This is a bill of material for a certain plant. And you see here there are differences between my E-bomb and my M-bomb. These differences I could later on resolve with, for example, product structure synchronization, what is not part of this meeting. But from here on, I can easily get this bill into the PLM7 area, use product structure synchronization, and then generate here my manufacturing BOM. And with this, I would like to hand this back to Reinhard and Peter for question and answer and for some final comments. Peter?
So thanks very much, everyone. We're going to go to the questions, but basically SAP, you can see the strategy is we're just not pretty pictures. You can see that where we were missing in pretty pictures, now we have them, but behind these pictures is real information. Engineering information, manufacturing information, information that can be leveraged into service, into work instructions, a true master model concept. And the platform is there now to start expanding that, scaling that out to add electrical CAD systems, software, other authoring systems. So as we move into the future, as more releases come, you'll be able to see more and more capabilities added on top of the Engineering Control Center platform. And based on the demo, you can see ease of use. It's there. It's very intuitive. It's very flexible. You could set these up based on your roles, the window structures that you need to do your job, the ability to drag and drop, file save as, all the kind of things that just weren't there in the old SAP GUI and CAD desktop and the web solutions. So it's a little peek into where we're going. And thanks, CENIT guys, our premier PLM Alliance implementer that's going to be handling all these. So thanks again. And I guess we're ready for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pete. Actually, we got quite a number of questions already while the session was running, and I think we can go at least through some of them. We may not be able to cover all of them within the remaining time of the webinar, but let me just look at the list of questions and we'll pick a couple and see what we can cover today. If you have any other open questions, please feel free to contact us and we'll get back to you and try to clarify that then after the webinar. So maybe let's start with a question, I think an interesting one for everybody on the call is, does the functionality of ECTR work with Microsoft Office? And actually that's of course a very common environment that we see with implementations. Obviously people not only work in their CAD tool, but kind of in a combination of Office documentation and the CAD tool, and that is very well supported by ECTR, so there's dedicated functionality for the integration of Microsoft Office applications, both email and the typical tools, Word and Excel. So the answer is yes, and thank you very much for that question. There's another question in relation to the search capability within ECTR that Sasha has shown, and the question is, does this query and search capability within ECTR use SAP Tracks? For those of you who don't know Tracks, Tracks is basically an index server that SAP provides as a component within the overall ECC architecture, and Tracks supports real-time searches. And the answer is yes, so ECTR supports actually both search capabilities, the traditional one that you have in all the applications, which is the true database search, and then also the Tracks-based search, which uses a search indexing capability. Let me see, there are a couple of other questions coming in. There's a question with respect to the timing of the when does this functionality become available, when is the release taking place. So as you see, the functionality itself is of course available already. As Pete mentioned, this has been around for a long time. There's a proven install base with the Siemens NX integrations. There's already first installations based on CATIA, and the other installations are coming along, other CAD systems are coming along as well. The plan is that there will be a ramp-up period later this year where a group of customers will actually validate the then SAP Engineering Control Center, and I'm not sure, maybe Pete you can comment when the official release will be available, but I think it's relatively close. We are close to that already.
Yeah, the target is the end of this year, so the ramp up will start, like you're saying, with a selected customer. So if you're interested, drop us an email, let us know, and then they'll go through the ramp up, and end of the year is the target.
There's another question in relation to ECTR. Is the ECTR intended to be the primary engineering user interface for day-to-day work? And the answer is truly yes. So the intention of the design of the application is really to be that companion for an engineer, so really perform all the day-to-day work that you would have to do in relation to data management, product lifecycle management, and so on through ECTR. So again, the answer is yes. That's how the tool is designed and intended to be used. Let me see if there are any new questions coming in. There's a question with respect to the differences on the usage for different CAD tools. So would there be, sort of say, a training effort, or would there be a real difference in how the system acts and reacts when you use, for example, CATIA versus NX, or SolidWorks versus NX, and so on? And the part that Sasha has shown within ECTR, it's really the same for all the different CAD tools. So the strategy that Pete described, that there should be one platform for all the different authoring tools, is basically behind this, and so the use of the tool will be the same for the different CAD systems. What may be different is actually the user interaction within the actual CAD system. So I mean, there's always specifics. So CATIA behaves a little different, and the user interaction within CATIA is different as compared to NX or SolidWorks. So these components will be different, but I think that's actually something engineering user communities are used to, especially in industries where you have multi-CAD, in like aerospace or automotive. This is kind of just daily routine, and yet the tool itself is independent of the CAD functionality. Let me see if there's any other questions coming in. There's a question in relation to the right hemisphere format and the viewing capability that we saw in the demo. The question is the visualization created on the fly, and is it stored within SAP for future use? And the answer is yes to both. So the mechanism that SAP supports with the generation of visualization files or neutral geometry is basically there are configurable triggers in the system, so you can create the right hemisphere file format based on certain conditions in the system. And Sasha showed us as part of the demo the status change. So basically the conversion is triggered through a status change, and the files that are being generated, the lightweight geometry files, are checked into SAP, so they are stored within the same document info record as the CAD original, and can then be consumed by different participants, can be consumed by people who don't have the CAD tool, and can of course be used for further authoring on the basis of the visualization, so using SAP's authoring tool for the Visual Enterprise solution. There's, let me see, there's a question in relation to the interaction with drag and drop. I think you've seen in Sasha's demo that there's heavy support for drag and drop and cut and paste type activities. So really with a focus on productivity and efficiency of the tool set. There's a question: is it possible to drag and drop the bill of documents in a CAD structure? So you may know that the assembly structure in SAP is represented as a bill of documents, and the answer is yes. So you can use that as well in the user interaction, drag and drop these elements as well. There's another question with respect to the licensing of this, and I think that's something we cannot answer today. So there's still final concepts being made for that, so that information will become available relatively soon. And if you would like to be kept up to date, just let us know, and then we'll keep you informed through either a follow-up webinar or just by email if you are interested. I think with that we are coming to the end of our webinar time. We would like, again, thank you very much for attending the webinar today, and thank you for joining us. My apologies for the hiccup in the beginning with the audio, so I hope you still found the webinar useful, and we're looking forward to hearing back from you, and join us for one of our future webinars as well. So thank you, everybody. Have a nice weekend, and